I guess we should just get started, right?
Yeah.
So coronavirus.
Yeah.
What is it canceled already?
You got NCAA tourney, you got concerts, you got
March Madness.
So yeah, I guess we're videoing this on Thursday. What's today? The 12th.
Yes, it is
Thursday
the 12th.
Yeah.
Thursday the
So
12th.
Thursday the 12th at like 11 p.m. So if anything happens after this, that's when we're videoing this stuff. And I mean, it's NCAA tourney. That's huge. And they didn't just postpone the NCAA tourney; they canceled it.
Outright.
Outright, it's canceled. They are not going to have it this year. There will not be a basketball champion. And not only did it cancel basketball, they canceled all spring and winter sports championships. That's baseball, that's softball, swimming, wrestling, basketball, girls and guys. Just across the board, everything is done. NBA season is postponed. NHL season's postponed. It's hitting. Disneyland's closed.
Is that only for high? Is that for high school too?
So college is that's college NCAA, but high schools are canceling stuff. We got a friend out in Colorado. They've canceled or at least postponed all their after school activities and sports and everything.
Wow.
The IHSA, the Illinois High School Sports Association, they're still, as of right now, running their basketball championships, which finish up this weekend and next weekend, but they're only allowing 60 spectators from each team to be there. So, basically no crowd.
Yeah, that's going to be a fourth of the stands filled, probably.
Yeah, because, it's a big arena that they hold it in and stuff. So, it's crazy. Everything's canceled. Travel to and from Europe's canceled. So, and so what's it going to do to Worlds is kind of...
But at this point, Worlds is still on, right?
And no one's canceled it as of this point. Varsity canceled, what was it, Andy? The next...
American... Oh, shit. I just remembered it. Wait.
I think it's the next 2 weekends of competition.
Yeah, it's next 2 weekends of competition, but for sure, the biggest one I think was Was it American Cheer Power? Is that what it's called?
It could be American Cheer Power. That makes sense.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there's American Cheer Power.
Okay, yeah, I don't know all the since I'm new to
Spirit.
ACP, American Cheer Power.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, so yeah, I know it's that one for sure because I think that one was this weekend.
Okay.
I think it was this tomorrow and Sunday, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, the fact that like you were saying, literally, what they give out 13 Worlds bids there?
Yeah, every competition is a little bit different, and I haven't looked into that one. But yeah, that would make sense. 13 sounds about right.
That kind of sucks for people that don't have their Worlds bid.
But then that also means if we're not sure for sure if Worlds is going to happen. So people who already have their bid,
sucks to suck, but yeah, on so many levels, we're just in this weird spot right now for Cheer, Worlds, and Summit and everything of Disney's closed.
But
Disney is
still
closed.
2 months out, though.
Yes, yeah. We are a full. I guess not a full. We're about a month and a half out because it's end of April. Right now we're a couple weeks into March at this point, March 12th. So we're almost 2 weeks into March. So month and a half,
month and a half. It's damn.
Just
and then
sweep on through. Go ahead.
Well,
don't bother us.
That's also the thing. Since they canceled the next 2 ones, I don't think there is any more chances to get bids if World's still going, or is there?
There should be.
There's always that one that's
it's April
one
14th.
that's
it's
1
April
week
14th.
before.
Yeah, it's the second week in April normally, and it's the last couple of years I think it's been one-up championships.
Because
in either Georgia or Tennessee, they kind of rotated back and forth. So, because
my first year at Valor, that's how we did it. We had to go to that competition. There was one up down in Kentucky.
But it sounds like things are canceled for 30 days at least. For most things, they're suspending stuff for at least 30 days. So we're past that deadline too. So no more opportunities to get bids other than the cup race that they do. Or I'm assuming they still did it this year, where every competition you compete at, you get points and shit.
See, bro, I'm too new to this to
I think it's called the World Cup race or whatever. Basically, every time you compete at a competition as a level 5 team, you get points based on the number of teams you beat. You get 10 points for every team you beat. Okay. And then at the end of the year, they give away paid and non-paid bids to the teams that have the points that have qualified you.
Oh, so it's not even a competition. It's just score-wise.
No, just your whole year, level 5 or level 6. Sorry,
I feel that makes more sense than the way bids are given out in general.
So and that's the thing is I keep saying level 5, but
level 6 technically because the levels changed
this
year.
And because him and I have been in Cheer for so long, we're gonna say level 5 a million times, and we normally are going to mean level 6. Like that's
We're trying to break the habit, but it's a tough one.
yeah.
Hasn't there been already cases of like parents taking out their kids from cheer?
Yeah. So
Where was that? You were telling me about somewhere that's like
I saw somewhere there was
just not going to Worlds anymore because 20% of their team like
it was
said
just
they're not
just a
going.
specific competition, but like
Oh.
like there was a gym where parents were polled of like, hey, if we're competing this weekend or we're supposed to compete this weekend, who's not going to go? And like something like 20% of their parents said they wouldn't bring their kid. Like,
And I mean, without 20% of your team, you don't have a team. You're not going to rework a team
yeah,
for one weekend of competitions.
yes, exactly. And like, so that's now, and that's with limited cases of coronavirus in the U.S. Like as that expands over the next month and a half,
It's just going to get even worse and worse and worse, and you know. And by the time Worlds gets here, even if it's still happening, everyone's going to be pulled already, or like,
yeah.
you know.
And then you got the other side. You got the parents who like, because so I think when you're talking coronavirus, there's basically two groups of people right now, and like one is the people who think it's crazy and like they're freaking out about it and like don't want to be around anything, and then you got the other side that are kind of think all of us in this room like where we think it's just people are freaking out over nothing, and it's.
But to be fair, from our perspective, we are young, healthy men, like at very low risks of anything serious happening if we do get infected or But I can understand the elderly being a little more worried, or even parents like with their children, like
the one with the weak immune systems.
Yes.
yeah,
Like,
or someone who has a pre-existing condition. Like I completely understand the concern and worry, and I'm all for the extra care that it takes to make sure that we as healthy people don't spread it, but at the same time, we can do that without that panic.
yeah. So I think you got both sides of that, and you're gonna have both sides of that when you go into.
Sorry about that, guys. That was our weak attempt at a green screen. We're just ready for bed, and we're trying to knock this out real quick. So we'll get a green screen next time, by the way.
Unless you guys like this, then
Then we probably won't have a green
I
screen.
don't really care.
But yeah, so when you go into a cheer gym, you're gonna have both sides of those parents too. That my daughter, like I just saw posted on some page somewhere. I'm in a bunch of different groups and stuff, but like I saw one like I don't know if it's on my regular Facebook page or some other random forum or something group chat. Come here. There was I forgot where I was going with that.
Cheer for
There was a parent saying like, oh, if I can't be at, because like what some places were doing is they were trying to host events without a crowd. Like they're gonna do an event without a crowd. They were holding basketball games, no crowd there or anything. And what someone said was, well, why don't we do that for Worlds? No crowd. Like you compete, no crowd. And the parent was like, I don't want to allow my daughter to go to her first Worlds if I can't be there to watch. Which like.
kind of selfish, but at
Yes.
the same time, if that child,
wait.
if that,
I mean, but like, not really selfish because like half these girls are like 14.
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
if they're
that kind
young,
of not selfish.
if they're young, like you could send a 16, 17-year-old to Worlds and they'd be fine with their team and their coaches, they'd be able to get around. But someone that young, yeah.
But
I
I
can
mean,
understand a parent feeling like they need to be
I can
there.
see that, but I went to Summit my first year of All-Star, and it kind of sucked that I had no family there. Actually, as soon as I got off the stage, I was a little bit, and I started crying. Like I legit, because like no one was there to watch me. Like nobody.
And that's like that's partly what they're suggesting, but to combat like kind of what you're saying, they're not suggesting the parents don't go. They just can't go into the arena and watch.
But then you still have mass amounts of crowds everywhere,
Sure,
so it doesn't
absolutely.
really solve the problem. You're just irritating people
Sure.
further.
But yeah, so like
Oh, we got first alarm.
yeah,
Sorry,
we're
guys.
just trying to like not go crazy a long time here, so we set a couple of alarms.
That was
So
our first alarm.
but yeah, so I mean, but you have parents of that perspective that's just like this interesting perspective of like, no, I don't want my kid to go if I can't watch. So you got people that are there, and then you got people that are on the other side of like, why would you not allow my kid to compete at Worlds? We just spent all this money all year. We've bought our plane tickets. We've done all this stuff, and now we're not going to be able to compete.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Okay,
That makes
I was
sense.
honestly just thinking about the money that they spent for for like that they were spending for Worlds. I totally forgot that you had to pay for like the whole season because like I mean like you know I just haven't paid for anything. So.
We're lucky we're guys. We tend to get discounted when we go to gyms and things like that.
No,
like so we do tend to forget that a cheer season actually costs money.
For real, no, and I totally forgot that. I was like, wait, I didn't even remember like what the like if you're at ICE like tuition is $350 for a girl. I think $350 or $325. So just off tuition, it's like $3,000, and that's not including travel and all like, everything else.
We're kind of straying away. Expensive tuition.
Okay.
World's just as expensive.
Yeah,
so like I mean, all this money goes into it, and I completely understand a parent like absolutely not. Like my child just went through all of this. I just paid all of this. Like the season is ending how it should.
What if it's your senior year?
Exactly.
Like it's your last year.
Because I know my last year on senior level teams, it was very emotional because every competition I was like, this might be the last. Like this could be the last on a senior team, and like if I hadn't gotten that experience, I probably wouldn't have continued with cheer.
Right. So it's
detrimental.
Wait, what?
Detrimental.
Wait, this could be last. That was the last. If it was your senior year.
Well, it was my. I mean, like.
Oh, unless you're talking about super senior year.
Well, or you go to an open team.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I've
true,
been on
true.
open teams since then.
Yes. So like, but like some of these kids, like it's your senior year and then you're going off to cheer at college afterwards, or you're just going off to college and you're done cheering and you'll never cheer again.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy part. Like think about it this way: they cancel Worlds, they cancel Summit, and they've now canceled the next 2 weeks of competitions and assume they cancel the next week if they cancel Worlds. So you've already competed at your last competition you'll ever compete at.
That's so sad. That's actually heartbreaking.
That like, and it's mind blowing. Like it's heartbreaking. It's mind blowing. Like,
I really hope that's not how it turns out because a lot of athletes will have a very sad end to a career.
Yep. And so then you talk about so we don't cancel, we postpone. So what do? Do you move it to May? So now you're into a ton of proms. You're into graduations.
The Florida heat is getting worse or better depending on your perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
But
And what if they already got stuff booked at Disney for May? So then, okay, now we look at June. We're going to move into June and we're going to bump into the next cheer season.
Exactly.
Like,
you have that short window of time where it's really only not plausible and it's just...
Yeah, so like they postpone it, like maybe they find a way to postpone it 2 weeks, which bumps you into like Summit territory, and like they run it all at the same time somehow.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pretty cool.
Like, and maybe they do that, and like they find a way to make that happen, because then we're into May, and like at least you're further out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they're gonna play that out.
Yeah, but honestly, my perspective, I think they cancel it. Like at this point.
Yeah, with everything else canceling, music festivals, everything has been canceled at this point so far.
And it's one of those things too, like people booked plane flights, they can still get like, so most airlines have now opened it up where like if you're flying up until like March 31st or like things like that, or like a little bit later, it depends on when you booked it and whatnot, you can actually cancel your flight and get your money back. You can get a voucher for that money to where normally there's a cancel fee associated with it. And like most airlines are being reasonable and like giving money back. So like, but when they're gonna stop doing that at some point, so.
True.
And then I'm assuming Disney's only going to refund the money if they cancel within a certain amount of time too. Like,
yeah.
And I think that's your big portion. I mean, because if you're there for 4 days, what is it normally like around $750 per person just to stay at Disney?
Something like that.
So,
that sounds about right.
And then you're taking a family of 4, so you're at $2,800. Like, you want that money back if you're not going.
If I don't get that experience, I want that money I spent on that experience.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think if they're going to do something, they got to do it sooner rather than later. But
just to save people money.
Exactly. Otherwise, they're going to be in a really bad situation of
we know USASF are penny pinchers.
They want the money. Like
they want it just as bad as if they can do anything to get it. They're going to.
Absolutely. And then Summit. I mean, it's varsity. Varsity wants money even more than the USASF. So,
exactly.
And that's the thing too, is like these are going to be two separate decisions most likely if it comes down. If the entities get to make the decisions themselves, like if it's not governing bodies that come down and say, because right now, like in Illinois, you're not allowed to have gatherings over 1,000 people right now. So like that automatically disqualifies that. If like Florida has the same rule that goes into the end of April, then it doesn't happen. But let's say no governing body puts a rule in place, then you still have USASF's got to make a decision about Worlds. Varsity's got to make the decision about Summit.
Okay.
Now USASF can make the decision for Varsity because they're the governing body and whatnot, but I mean,
ultimately it falls in varsity's hands.
Yeah, no one's gonna step on varsity's toes if they're looking to host it.
Someone should.
So I mean, what are your guys' stance on it at this point? You think they cancel? You think they postpone? Like, what if you had to like say today? What do you think they're gonna do?
Personally,
I just don't think it's gonna get canceled. I just don't see it happening.
I
Like,
feel like there would be too many people very, very upset about it.
it's not even just
Gio,
that.
what were you gonna say something?
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
I said personally, I think they should cancel it because just the fact that I just want them to cancel it, just to see how like everyone just goes crazy.
Oh yeah, no, that's gonna
That'd
be
be,
pretty.
like,
It'd
the
be a pretty
biggest-
big deal. Like
yeah,
it would.
I bet they cancel it, honestly, with
So-
everything else getting canceled.
I was exactly where Andy was like 5 days ago. I was like, "There's too much money. There's no way they can. There's too much money." NCAA tourney, like the
Yeah.
amount of money, like you're talking millions of dollars in TV broadcasting money. I think it's $9 million for like this year's TV broadcast that they're losing, and then there's seat money, concession money, beer money,
Ticket money.
like there is
seat money.
Yeah, there is so much money in NCAA tourney, and like Cheer is probably very close to it. It might be slightly above it, might be slightly below it, but like they canceled that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly can't see them keeping it. I feel like a lot of people would get mad if they did keep it.
But then again, I feel like I don't know, dude. I just feel like it's so far out that it's just like
It
kinda
is.
like it's kind of like that thing where they're just gonna be like, "Ah, fuck it,
Maybe,
fuck
maybe
it, we're doing it, you know.
Because like the NCAA tourney starts in 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
well, Selection Sunday would have been this Sunday, and then it starts the following Thursday. So like a week from today would have been the first games of it. So like that is much closer than
Yeah,
Yeah,
nah,
April.
I just don't
Alright.
see it, but like I can see why.
I'm
I
gonna-
can see it, yeah.
I'm gonna wrap this up
Yep.
because I feel like we've talked about as much as we can
Oh,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah, talking too much.
You guys should definitely let us know what you think about the whole situation down in the comments. Argue with each other, agree with each other, whatever you want to do, do it.